Welcome to the Media Masterminds. We are live 8 via Google Hangouts. Some of you probably are listening to us on iTunes. So for you, we are not live. If somehow you think that we have magically transformed ourselves and this is a live communication. I am Legend Pop Paul. Joining me every week, Mr. Benyy Rose. Mr. Rose, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. This is very interesting what we got going on here.
So it's been a while. How are things?
Things are pretty good, actually. I had a crappy work commute the last 2 days, but other than that, things have been pretty good. My bus driver decided to get into an accident and right by the battery tunnel. That was pretty pretty funny to wake up to because I was sleeping on the bus. But for the most part, it's been a little quiet since Wizard World for the most part.
I think we should probably discuss a little bit of Wizard World. We had both went to Wizard World. I went more as just a regular guest. While you were more of a badge holder, a member of the media, I guess.
Well, I was there essentially a presenter, artist, if you will. They call us vendors. It's a mix and match, but it was pretty cool. Adam with Take Care Have Fun was there for the entire 4 day span. I was there for Saturday and Sunday, and you came to hang out on Saturday.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't too crazy about the show. I mean, it was a big floor. It's a bigger floor than like the Javits Center is, or what we're used to here in New York. But I thought there'd be a little bit more of a presence as far as like a Marvel booth or something like that. But I mean, it was a cool show. I got a custom cover art made for one of my sketch covers. You guys did really well at the table, but while I was there, I finally got to meet the guys from the Trainwreck Gaming podcast and website, and that was really cool to meet them. I mean, that's really it. We should mention, I guess we're both going to be going to New York Comic Con,
Yes, we got through that. Pretty cool.
even though it's a few weeks away,
A few weeks, huh?
a few months actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you start using the Speed Force and didn't tell me?
But yeah, so we're trying something new with this recording this way. We'll see how the show comes out. I mean, it's not really probably going to be the same as us both being in the same room and that dynamic. But if it comes out well, we'll see where we could go from there. We've also been spitballing the idea of having having guests on the show.
Yes.
So if this pans out, we're looking to either the next show or maybe save it for show number 10. I'm not quite sure yet, of having a couple guests and then changing up those guests every week. And, having maybe Adam of Solstice Art, of Take Care, Have Fun, Benny's business partner on the show. Maybe a couple former co-hosts of mine as far as podcasting went from my back in the day. And then we'll go from there. Benny has some friends in the gaming industry, some friends in the comic industry. Maybe our friends at Trainwreck Gaming could jump on for a show. And I think it's a good way to get more opinions than just ours.
Even though ours are the best.
Oh, well, we'll still be the best, obviously. Right. But
True.
So I guess we should jump right in to the entertainment news for the week. We're going to do the same as we usually do. Entertainment, what we're watching, and then the Benyy Rose Thorn pricks. Back into the movie section for Benny.
Yes, yes.
So we're going to start with the Suicide Squad, and that's Benny's favorite. If I can just pull it up for a second for all the people.
You pull it up, and I'll pull the trigger. How's that sound?
So if we can present it, do you see it up on the screen now? It should be presenting to everyone.
Oh my god, I forgot that I've seen this already.
So this is the what we've seen a couple days ago, the Suicide Squad of what appears to be a flashback between the Joker and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn isn't in her Harley Quinn outfit, so
Dr. Quinzel.
Yeah, and so what do we think of this, Ben?
I think that the movie is probably going to have a lot of filters the way Man of Steel does. So I feel like them going with these really bright, vibrant colors, I don't know if that's going to show in the end. I think that it's a little too bright. It's more of a cosplay than what I would expect from a movie.
Right.
I guess they're going for a different tone. I mean, obviously the biggest factor we all dislike is the tattoos.
Which are there now. They have
Yeah.
shown that that wasn't a ploy or promotional because he has the tattoos.
Yeah, you can see in that top right picture, if you look very carefully, you do see them. I mean, I like to have my own perception on stuff to kind of give myself a little sanity on what could be. And it's almost like I wonder if maybe he's uh, kind of writing them in there, as he puts his makeup on. The wishful thinking, but maybe they're not. It's not the same all the time, or who knows? It's
I think that's very wishful thinking.
yeah, it's pretty awful. Um, I've read some websites talked about they see that it's a little bit of homage to Dark Knight Returns as far as the outfit he's wearing, stuff like that. But I don't know. It's kind of its own thing, and I don't know how I feel about because at the same time when we've seen like Will Smith, we've seen what he looks like, we've seen Harley Quinn in her attire. It's almost like they're two different dimensions as far as styling. Maybe it's just the way I'm looking at it, but he's very bright, colorful,
Yeah.
which essentially he is. But in movie form, it seems like nobody's ever wanted to take the chance, so it's weird.
Right. I
You
think
know?
that the paint is a lot brighter, and the hair dye is a lot
Right.
brighter also. I
I
mean,
mean, it's blatantly bleached and as bright green as you can get. You know,
yeah,
when you look at Harley, but Harley's got her signature red and black, but it's nowhere near as vivid. So it's like, is there a dark contrast? Is that being done on purpose? The car is a little more suitable as far as the purple not being as vibrant, but I don't know.
I wasn't. Nothing again. Nothing is done. I feel like a broken record on the show with nothing is done to impress me with anything that we've seen with this movie.
It's garbage.
And that shot where he's slapping her or whatever he's doing looks like it's a green screen effect. So you may be right with the adding of a lot of scenery and other things that they're going to be doing with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we'll get one picture out of everything that'll look decent, which will be like the end credits will leak. It's like, oh, so they finished it. Good. We don't have to hear about it anymore.
Well, let's move on into my fanboyism and move on into set pictures from a different movie that actually looks pretty awesome, and that's Captain America: Civil War,
Civil Law.
and Civil la 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 la. And we see on this page we see a few characters, but there was already been more as far as Hawkeye was on the set. Black Widow was on the set. We see Crossbones. We see a first shot of our villain,
Which looks awesome.
which looks great. I mean, if you're listening to the podcast and not watching us on YouTube or on a live stream, you should check it out and see what he looks like. You're not spoiling anything. It was kind of pre-established if you watch The Winter Soldier that he was going to become Crossbones in the movie. And then scrolling through some of these, you see Cap fighting him. You see the Falcon. I mean, they're really getting. That's a stunt double. That's not even Chris Evans right there.
I was gonna say, what happened to his face?
But there's a shot, so you could see some of the damage to Crossbone's face from the battle
Right.
from the Winter Soldier.
With his stunt double too, his stunt cock.
Stuntcock stand-in. And Ben, what do you think about what we've seen so far of Civil War?
I think it looks awesome. I think that the fact that we're getting so many, characters in this movie again, we're getting like a chock full of Avengers, 2.5 essentially. But
Yeah, but is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I was gonna say I think it'll be a better thing now because a lot of these characters have been introduced. I felt like the thing I liked about Age of Ultron was a lot of the characters that were first time coming in the first movie were established, and I got to appreciate them more.
Right.
Whereas the newcomers suffered because they had very little screen time, getting a little origin, whatever it may be. And I feel that they'll have a little more time to shine, even though it's not their movie. Essentially it is, Captain America. But, there's such a plot focus on all of the heroes. I think that they'll do the right thing. And, it's going to be a lengthy movie, but I feel that they'll pace everything the right way. I want to see a little more vision. I want to see, I like Falcon. I could do without him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I felt like they could have put him in Age of Ultron a little more, instead of just like, he's literally the leftovers. It's like, yeah, everybody left, so I guess you can be an Avenger now.
One of the few things that weren't confirmed is I don't think Vision has been confirmed that he is in the movie yet. As of yet, I'm not sure. It seems like everyone else in the movie. I that could be a good or a bad thing because there's too many people in the movie and suffers where it's not a Captain America movie and it's just an Avengers extension, like you said.
Right. I guess time will tell.
Right.
But Crossbones is the center point as far as villain in this movie, as far as you know.
I don't think so. I think he's just going to be
puppet.
One of the hopefully not one of the real early just defeat and leave alone the rest of the movie and just have him in 10 minutes of the movie and then that's it.
Oh, like Rhino?
Well, Rhino was towards the end of the film, but
Spider-Man. Garbage. Another movie, garbage. All right.
Yeah.
It was good. So we got crappy Suicide Squad, awesome Civil War. DC's got a lot of homework to catch up on.
Yeah.
They need to wake up because their first movie's coming real close.
Well, and as we see with that Civil War is shooting, we don't know yet still who's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man apparently is going to be in Civil War. But now we've seen all of these people on set. We've seen Cap, we've seen Falcon, Hawkeye, and even Bucky. We saw a shot of Bucky. Right. But we don't know even who's playing Spider-Man. So are they going to be keeping it a secret? Or are they going to show us, an announcement soon? Something.
I think it's going to be hard for them to keep a secret the world we live in with everybody getting pictures on set. You know what I mean? The fact that you were able to get, Jared and Affleck and all these other people when they're not supposed to. Everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got a way to film very far away and zoom in a little bit.
Well, it's pretty crazy because I think a lot of these movies are actually shot in cities as opposed to like on sound stages, and that's really the only way you could keep a good secret on it is if it was done in a sound stage.
True. Pretty much isolated from the public eye.
I have it on the format here about Wizard World. But what was your full thoughts as someone that really goes to cons more than I do? And I mean, I'd like to start continuing to go more. But what were your thoughts on Wizard World having been there a few days?
Well, for me, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed the experience. I felt that it was my first Wizard World. I've done a lot of conventions with Reed Pop, who does San Diego, New York Comic Con. Done a lot of the small promoters conventions like in Philadelphia, New Jersey. So, you get a different promoter's perspective on how a show is run. And, the first day or two, Adam had some issues with table placement. We were pretty much put all the way in the corner. As far as you can go back.
For the audio listeners, Benyy pointed off screen to the back.
Far. Home run.
Far away. Up, put away, Webb.
Pretty much, when I got there Saturday morning, they decided that they were moving everybody up because there was some tables that weren't filled. So that ended up working to our favor. We got moved up a little closer, but, we were concerned that we were pretty much the last aisle. We knew it was our first con with them, and that's usually just how anything works. You go to a con, you set up for a table, you're a first-time person, you're not going to get put in a good spot. Fine. It ended up working to our advantage. We had a really good experience. We had a lot of foot traffic. We had a lot of fans that came to the show just to come see us. It was awesome to see Trainwreck again. Sam and Corey Rory are really awesome guys. They did their
Yeah,
thing, doing a lot of autographs and Doctor Who, which I don't approve of, but we won't get into that.
over 2 hours of a wait as Sam hung out with us. I walked around a little bit with Sam, and we had to find the miraculously hidden Tomorrowland table, which was completely underwhelming. Which is what I'm hearing the reviews for the movie is also. So it kind of makes sense, and I'm a little disappointed at that. But we'll leave that for a later point when we're actually ready to discuss that.
But didn't you have a much better experience at the Terminator booth?
I walked by the Terminator booth and they tried to get me to go in by saying, "Oh, trust me, it's fun," but I just kept walking. I wasn't really interested in that.
Did Sam go into that?
No, he wasn't with us at that point. It was
Okay.
myself and Dr. Joe at that point.
Okay, so nobody. Well, Joe did it, right? Because
No, neither of us did
I
it.
thought somebody got name tags,
Oh, that's
dog
what it
tags.
was.
Dog tags or something.
Oh, maybe someone else must have did
somebody
it.
was a sap and went in and did that. But overall the experience was cool. I enjoyed when I finally got to walk around, which was a little later on Sunday. A lot of vendors, a lot of small companies like us, like you said, for somebody that wants to see more of Marvel, and big companies have their own tables, like at E3 at New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con, where they're going to potentially announce newsworthy stuff. It doesn't seem like Wizard World is the company to do that, which is fine at the end of the day. But there was some good guests that were there.
Yeah.
I finally.
Dead Burt Reynolds was there.
You mean the California Raisin?
He heard
Adam
through the grapevine.
I was just gonna say Adam heard it through the grapevine. Yeah, he looked really bad.
He looked like Weekend at Bernie's.
But I got to finally pass off Jason David Frank a picture of Green Ranger that Adam had drawn. We were trying to give it to him since January, so that was kind of cool. And he's the only person I went out of my way to meet. I waited on the line a little bit, but
I thought everyone was very expensive. I didn't want to bother with the cost.
Yeah, and it seems like these cons are not going to get cheaper as we go on.
Yeah. And then I was supposed to have gone to the ACBC, which is the Atlantic City Boardwalk Con, and didn't get a chance to go. A friend of mine bailed at the last minute, but fortunately for me, and unfortunately for everyone who showed up there, my main point of going was to go to see Stan Lee, and Stan Lee canceled at the last minute. So I guess I was lucky that I didn't feel as bad about not being able to go, because he was the main point of why I was going. But I feel bad for all the people that paid that. That was the primary reason. I would guess for a good amount of people to go to that show was to see him. But the man's 92 years old. Can you really feel angry towards him for that?
Yeah. I wouldn't think so. I mean, I would assume that people would have gotten their money back if they got VIP.
I hope so.
Passes and stuff like that. I mean, these cons are usually pretty good with that. But I heard the show was really, really good too. I don't know if you know that con is actually ran by either Disney or Marvel.
Which is essentially the same thing.
Right, yeah. One of them, I think, takes a bigger focus on it, but that's why you were getting like Kevin Smith and
there was a big Marvel booth.
Right.
Yeah, so, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Marvel, because all the comics I've been reading, every issue has an ad for it, with Stan Lee being there, the Marvel booth there, no presence by DC. I would assume it is them, but it's not a good first year for them to have their headliner back out. I think that's going to be bad going forward, probably, for them.
Agreed. Because another thing I ended up hearing was, a lot of the artists that go to these shows, essentially, they're selling their interpretations of art that we're familiar with, be comic characters, stuff like that. And a friend of mine that had a table pretty much was recommending that anybody that was selling art like that to be cautious of their Marvel art, that they might get cease and desist at the show, because that's how I found out about Marvel being involved.
Oh, that's bad then. They can't do that. That's not right.
Oh, they could technically do whatever they want.
Oh, technically, but then they're not going to get artists to show up at the show if they, going forward.
Right.
If that's what they do.
I'm saying not necessarily an artist that has actually drawn the character. Somebody like people I know, like the guys I've introduced you to.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
understand what you meant. Yeah.
yeah. But who knows if that ended up being an issue or not. I
Right.
have to reach out to a couple of guys. But overall, pretty good show. They saved themselves. We had some issues in the beginning. Uh, would we do it again? Most likely. I look forward to New York Comic Con.
Right.
We're gonna be going as visitors. We decided to hold off on a table because we want to grow the business a little more. So you and I are going to be going there with Mrs. Rose, and Adam will be coming with us as well. So we look forward to that, which is months away. So we have plenty of time to prep for that.
Yeah. Do you have anything coming up as far as I know you're going to one in the end of June. Is that the next one you have coming up?
The next con is the end of June, which will be Too Many Games, and that's in Oaks, Pennsylvania. It is video game centered convention.
Okay, so we'll mention it again in the video game section for those of the people that skip ahead or just listen to the video games area. I had one last bit of news on here. I know you were excited about this. Is the trailer for the Legends of Tomorrow DC spin-off show that they're going to have on the CW. They did have the Supergirl trailer also.
Meh.
I haven't watched it, and from what you said, it wasn't great, and what I hear online, it wasn't great. But I did watch the Legends of Tomorrow, which is going to have characters from Arrow and the Flash.
Yes.
On the trailer's very long, or I would play it. If it was only a minute, I would try to play it in the feed. I don't know if that would even get us pulled off YouTube by playing it. But what did you think of the trailer, Ben?
I thought it was awesome. I felt that it was a little more of a promotional video than a trailer.
Yeah.
I felt that there was story to be told, which was really cool. We get a lot more talk about, future and
time travel,
future heroes. People coming back from the dead, essentially, from for fans of Arrow. It looks awesome. I'm excited. I wasn't sure how to take it at first, because the fact that we were was focused upon the Atom and Firestorm, and they've been used so little on the shows. It's like, can they hold a show on their own?
Well, the trailer leads you to believe that the Flash and the Arrow will show up as cameos, just as they have crossed over with each other now. Right. I don't still know where I stand with the Captain Cold being on the team. It just seems a little odd to me.
It's very Flashpoint Paradox.
Yeah,
where he's good in the alternate reality.
Yeah, and as someone in the Ant-Man army, I did not appreciate the Atom shrinking down the size at the end of it, like as if we've never seen that before. When the Ant-Man movie will be out in another month and 2 months.
You don't think that's why they did it?
Maybe, but they weren't. They're coming off more as copycats now. Even though that the character has the ability to do it, it just seems like it was used as a gimmick to.
I felt that they were testing the waters with the character, with the suit and everything in the beginning. I felt that with the first season, they probably didn't have the budget.
That's also what I was thinking.
So I would say, DC is definitely competing regardless. They know. I mean, each series has their own copycat, in a sense. So,
right,
I think Ant-Man will do more, good out of that.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we touched on a bit for the movie news. We're going to try to cut down the length of the show a little bit also, as far as what we've been doing. And that way, when we have guests on, they don't feel like they have to sit on the show for a movie length of an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. Agreed. So the what we're watching, I know, is light for Benyy for this week. I caught up on some movies that I haven't seen before. I watched Pacific Rim and I watched Godzilla in back-to-back sessions. I also watched the Justice League Throne of Atlantis, which I did not like at all.
Garbage.
I thought the Batman versus Robin, which is based on Court of Owls, which we mentioned previously on another show, was a lot better than it. Right. I thought the Justice League movie couldn't decide whether it was a kiddie movie or it was trying to be more mature with the language and the violence. But I thought Godzilla was good. I don't know where we stand as far as spoiling that. I mean, the movie's kind of old now. It came out almost 2 years ago. There's not too much. It's monsters fighting each other that you could spoil. There is going to be there's going to be a sequel. I mean, it was okay. I thought the last 20 minutes and some other points in the movie were very, very dark, and it was almost like a team up movie where they already teamed up with Godzilla without knowing anything about the creature.
And Godzuki.
We were missing some singing. That's what we're missing. The little children singing about Gamera. Gamera! And
Mothra.
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 And
All right.
Pacific Rim, I thought was pretty good too. I'm a Guillermo del Toro fan. I didn't. It seemed like a summer popcorn flick, which I think that's what he was going for. I didn't think the story was anything great. It's like when people talk shit about Transformers. It's a movie with giant monsters fighting giant robots. I mean, you're not going into it for an Oscar performance of Tom Hanks or something.
But I was.
Well, Tom Hanks makes a cameo after credits, so I'm sorry.
Well said. Spoiler alert.
Mama said, life is like a box at Mothra, Gamera.
Idiot.
So that's really all I've been watching. What about you? What have you been watching? I know you did you watch The Flash now? The season finale?
Yes.
Was it good?
Yes.
Say no more. I have not watched it yet. I will probably watch it later tonight.
The fact that you're asking me, I'm containing myself.
I'm asking very limited questions that rely on yes or no answers without going into any detail.
Here's your answer. I won't even give the audio listeners. They won't get a word out of that.
Is there
have to watch the video.
Is there spermies on there?
Maybe.
It's kind of gross. Kind of gross that you have it on the table after. It was a two tissuer. It was a double tissue episode.
No, this is actually from crying.
Oh, how sweet!
All right.
Anything else you've been watching before we go on into the thorn prick for the week?
I decided to jump.
There's probably something I'm forgetting, but go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Avengers Assemble cartoon. I started jumping into season 2 very late, but I watched season 1. It's nowhere near the par of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but it's Avengers, so I tend to watch it. I know that they're going to eventually bring in Ultron in that, so I'm curious to see where they go with it. It's all right,
I saw that some of the episodes, like they had Thanos in them. It looked like, and
right in the beginning of the season 2.
A couple, yeah. Oh, so and I put on an episode. I can't remember if it was on Netflix or on Disney XD.
Has to be XD. Disney on Netflix. They only have season 1.
No, I haven't watched either season, so I'm not sure if it was a season 1 or season 2 on the XD app. But I watched maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I just thought it was garbage compared to the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the previous it's animated show.
Unfortunately, it's not that good. I'm gonna watch it. I'll probably throw the rest of the episodes on my iPad for my my trip to Vegas next week. That's gonna be a nice long flight. So, other than that, I decided to watch an old movie as well. The World's End.
Well, it's not really an old movie. It's a couple years.
Older, sorry.
Before you go into that, I just wanted to ask you if you watched the Spider-Man show that's on now. The Unlimited Spider-Man, I think it's called.
The last ones I watched were the Web Wars. I haven't watched anything after that. So when he went back in time, when he went to the alternate dimensions.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. I've seen that now they do a crossover, and I was wondering if that's any good at all. I've seen, because I didn't like that show either. I didn't care for the other characters, them doing like Iron Fist, and I didn't remember some of the other. Nova was in there, but I thought maybe now that it was just Spider-Man with the other Spider-Man.
No, they're still in the show. Luke Cage is in it. It's like Family Guy.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like about it. There's too many joke cutaways.
Well, you got it's weird because they bring in a lot of characters that most people don't know, but they did bring in Spider-Man Noir. They brought in Spider-Man 2099. They brought in Agent Venom. They might have brought one more Spider-Man, but I think that's it. There was like one or two episodes of each, and then that's it. It's kind of over. I don't know if the show has done more after that, which is possible, but I don't follow it. Meh.
Yeah, maybe when it eventually comes on Netflix, I'll give it a watch, but probably not.
Well, that's where I ended up watching. Season 1 and Season 2 were on there.
Mm-hmm.
Web Wars is not. So you can gamble and watch what's on there now.
I'm gambling again.
For me, I would much prefer Young Justice to come back. Like I absolutely
I never watched that show either. I
loved that show. I was
really? So
yeah,
I'll prefer. Maybe I'll jump into that as opposed to these other shows.
Yeah, I would.
I know they have them on Blu-ray.
Yeah, definitely try that.
All right. So what was the movie that I so rudely cut you off about?
It's fine. The World's
That's
End.
probably the only time you'll ever hear me say that.
It's true. It's true. The World's End, which is the
it's with Simon Pegg, right?
Simon Pegg, right? They basically go to different bars and stuff, and ends up there's like robotic aliens trying to take over the world, and these guys' goal is to go to every pub that's in their area. Like they were trying to do it when they were younger, and they didn't make it.
It's Edgar Wright made the movie. He does pretty much all those style movies with Simon Pegg, and he was supposed to do Ant-Man. Right. So this is really his last movie before that.
Yeah, it was okay. I tend to have higher expectations because of what he's done before.
Do you like the other, like, do you like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead?
I love those two movies.
Okay.
They're both really good. The characters, that these guys portray are very different than what we're used to. I felt that the two of the main characters in the other movies, their roles were very similar between Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and I felt that they both kind of did the opposite with the World's End. The characters take on opposite roles. It's a little weird.
So Simon Pegg's character is more the dick, nitwit kind of character.
Yeah, irresponsible, drunkard, drug abuser. And the other guy's the responsible, doesn't want to be around him. Yeah. The movie, it's a little slow at first, and it's so focused on these bars and stuff, and the stuff that happens with the aliens and whatnot, because that was on the commercial, so it's not really a spoiler. It's kind of cool. They look cool. It's a little different than what you're used to seeing. But it didn't really keep my attention. I don't even remember if I got through the last 20 minutes. I might have turned it off.
That's bad then.
Yeah. So
I have to give it a watch. I have it on
ultimately, I'm trying to remember what happened, and
right.
I'm seeing a scene. I'm like, I don't remember credits rolling, so I probably went and did something else. So yeah, it wasn't fantastic, sadly. But that's it.
All right, so let's move on then into the last area of our entertainment news. The Benyy Rose Thorn Prick. Mr. Prick. You like that effect? That was very special effects driven.
Yeah, you used Adobe After Effects for that. Such a dick.
Prick.
So, I had a movie in mind. I wanted to have it, since we're doing this video cast hybrid. I wanted to have the movie in front of me, and because I have too many damn movies, I can't find it.
Oh my god! So you failed us.
I grabbed my second pick. That would have been essentially.
Oh, okay. So that one next week.
It'll be next week. Yeah. So the movie I picked, you've been giving me a lot of credit for picking titles that you haven't bashed me for. I think that streak ends today.
Toxic Avenger Part 2 combo pack, Blu-ray and DVD. Does it have a digital copy inside of it?
Nope.
Yeah, big shocker that is.
Trauma can't afford it.
So why Toxic Avenger Part 2?
It's a very good question. Toxic Avenger is a really big guilty pleasure for me as a child, which is sad to say because this is not something a child should ever watch. But, being that my dad had a comic book store, my dad would always have bizarre things that he would like to show me. And, I used to see R-rated movies as a young kid. So, he saw this superhero that was made out of pretty much like toxic waste, had a mop as a weapon, and he decided to bring a movie home on VHS. And it was this movie. It wasn't even the first one.
Second one.
It was the second one. So he's like, yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. Because basically the studios used to actually send my dad movies and stuff like that to do cross promotion within the store and stuff. So I watched this movie as a kid. Nudity, blood, gore, cursing, like you name it, it's in this movie. Uh, this movie came out in the 80s. It is pretty much about the character, the Toxic Avenger, that used to be a nerd.
Really?
Shut up. Used to be a nerd that his name was Melvin Junko, and he used to work at a gym kind of spa, and he used to get bullied by all the jocks and everything, and they used to play pranks on him and everything. And one day they decided to do a prank that gets him into a lot of trouble, where he runs away from them and ends up falling out of a window and falls into a vat of toxic waste.
He runs away from them and falls out a window.
Yep, because
the window caught him by surprise.
No, he's just running like when you watch the first movie, he's just running blindly because he's just trying to get away from them, and the kid's retarded at the end of the day. So, like,
Bend the retards.
Here we go. No. So, what happens is they pull a prank on him that one of the hot girls is trying to say she wants to date him and kiss him or whatever, and they go in a closet. They end up making him wear a tutu and everything. And then they have him in there with a goat. Long story short. So once he comes out, he falls out the window in a tutu. So he falls into this waste, and he runs away.
And then he becomes Daredevil.
He starts catching fire.
And then that's Netflix.
And then the song comes on. Yep. And then he's blind.
Oh, okay.
But
toxic waste has different effects on different people.
Of course. But Toxic Avenger 2 is a little different because the character's already been established, which as a kid, I don't know that. I'm like, who the hell is this guy already? He's, but they give you a little origin in the beginning, which is cool. This is ultimately about him trying to find his dad. He finds out his dad is in Japan. So he decides to take a trip to Japan. And there are scenes in Japan. And there's kabuki men. And there's women.
Is there other toxic created creatures?
In the other movies, there are.
I remember the cartoon. The cartoon had multiple.
The Toxic Crusader was heavy on the focus of the mutations and stuff. But that
like
was
a team almost, right?
Yeah, it was Toxic Crusaders. It was him and like 5 other guys. We don't talk about that.
No,
but it's funny because Lloyd Kaufman, the creator of Trauma and Toxic Avenger, Adam, Jessica, and I have met him on numerous occasions. Really nice guy. We ended up sitting in a commentary session where they played the first movie, and he did color commentary the whole time, which was awesome. We found out.
Did he have good old JR with him sitting there and doing some play-by-play?
We found out that this is a movie he hates out of everything he's ever made. So what?
So it's perfect for the Rose Thorn prick.
Yep, because when I told him that this was my favorite, he just gave me the dirtiest look. And just
That's perfect.
Yep. So
I don't even need to say anything. The creator of the movie doesn't like it. There's really nothing for me to add to that.
Oh, dude, it's hysterical because he's like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I made this movie, and then he went and made part 3, which is technically part 2 and 3 was supposed to be one movie, and then they cut him in half. And the idea is part 1, the persona of the character, the way he talks, everything is different between 1 and 4 versus 2 and 3. So it's like 2 different series essentially. This movie is very tongue-in-cheek and goofy, where the first one was very dark in its own right, and then 4.
I figured they all would be tongue-in-cheek.
This is a lot more. Like he ends up. I'm gonna get bastardized for this. He's fighting like a midget at one point, and he crushes him and turns him into a basket. He turns him into a basketball. And he's like, I'm gonna play a little basketball, and he starts bouncing him around like a basketball. Like that's how.
Well, that's what we all wish we could do, isn't it? Just turn a person into a basketball, like a transformer.
All right, enough.
So did you cry when he told you it was his? He hated that movie.
No, because I knew about it, but to hear him say it in person to me, crushed
Well,
my.
it's kind of like Spielberg with Hook. Spielberg doesn't like Hook, but it's one of my favorite films of his.
But I explained to him. I was like, at the end of the day, I said I didn't get to see the first one with first. I said so it's important to me because it was my first movie, and he gets it. He didn't care, but he gets it. I told him.
I don't think he really matters to him.
No, I mean he's a nice guy, but I love the first one too. The first one is its own thing, but for this movie, I watched it so many times on VHS. I remember it the way I remember some of my other pricks, and I waited to talk about this one. But
I remember a lot of pricks.
The movie score is retarded. Like it's just awesome. It's so goofy.
They should make a crossover where he goes to the town from Troll 2, and he battles the goblins from Troll 2.
And then we have Ernest come back from the dead, and then he comes out with his little truck.
Well, Toxic Avenger would have to dig him up first. I'm bought in on that. I'll make the script. You sell it to your boy Kaufman, and there we go.
All right,
off to the races.
That's pretty much my prick, but I did want to endorse previous pricks that I've advertised. Now available on Blu-ray.
Sell them for the studios.
I am excited to tell you, Orgasmo and Ford Fairlane pricks that I've spoken about on previous episodes are now both available.
If you order Orgasmo through Amazon, you get movie cash. Benny Rose does not get any movie cash, but you get movie cash for Ted. Ted 2, which looks like shit to me, but okay.
Ted 2 and Trainwreck.
Yeah, the Amy Schumer film.
But it's fine because I might not have gotten movie cash, but I got the movie for free.
So, which Amazon usually does right by people.
Right. So win-win. Thank you,
Amazon. Win. All right, let's move on into the video games area. And I'll go into the first bit of news. We're going to do the news, what we're playing, which is light for me, a lot heavier for Benny. Benny has a new venture that he just started while he dances. And I'll give Benny a couple minutes to talk about that towards the end of the news section. And then I'll be doing the Pops Pick this week in the video games area. So the first section, I'll do a little bit of we're going to do a Kickstarter update. And the first bit of Kickstarter I wanted to talk about was Yooka-Laylee, which is still going strong. I'm going to pull it up here for the video listeners, viewers. So there they have Yooka-Laylee.
Jeez.
That 2.5 million. The game we're going to mention next that Benny has more of a history with is actually getting pretty close to that. So 27 days left, 2.5 million. It needs to get to it certainly is. It needs to get to 2 million euros in order to get free DLC for the backers. So I'm assuming it's going to. I think it needs to probably get another couple $100,000 to reach that threshold if it hasn't already. 2.5 might be 2.5 should be pretty close. But I'm really happy about this result, and then the result what we're going to talk about with the one Benny is going into. But all of the objectives have been reached besides this brand new one that they added. So you're going to be getting a lot of features for this game. And having gone into a GameStop this past week, I was talking to some GameStop employees, and they're a bit younger than you and I, more of a newer generation, and they want to play a platformer game. I'm kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised by it, that I didn't think they'd have the interest, and that's why these companies aren't making platformer games anymore. But what do you think about maybe a possible return to platformers, and if Microsoft / Rare really fucked this one up?
I think that it's really cool that you spoke about this before this launched, and you said how important platformers were to you and how it was a dying breed and how it should make a comeback. And, we did have a market that was saturated, and then it went away, and, it's making a comeback, and I think it's great. I always liked platformers. I just never had the dedication to play them completely. I think it's great to have a game like that be embraced by so many people, because we look at the
and still with so much time left.
Right. Well, at the same time, we live in this world where everybody's a Call of Duty fan, everybody's a Madden fan, and that's the norm.
Right.
We don't come from that generation. We come from generations that people want to try a new IP, even though it might be a mechanic that's been utilized. it's still an original idea, and yes, ukulele is a spiritual successor, as I know we hate to pen that term. When you look at a game like Banjo-Kazooie, it paved the way to show what platformers really could become, and I will admit, not playing the game, but I know what it did for, the gaming community, for Rare, to take a game in that direction. And it's cool to see the top guys, from that studio coming out with something and come out swinging. The game's not even out yet.
Yeah.
So
But do you think Rare? Do you think Rare slash Microsoft made a big mistake by not making a platformer and jumping on this earlier, maybe 6-8 months ago?
I don't think so, only because it's at the end of the day, it's on them. This is what the gaming community needs. It needs people to do their own thing and step away from the corporate entity.
I agree with you, and we're seeing a lot more of that now.
Right. And I think that's where we're going to get better product at the end of the day.
So I'm going to pull up the other Kickstarter that is more for you. And
which is Bloodstained,
yes,
Ritual of the Night.
You see it on your screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So it's at 2.4 million.
It's crazy.
And it's got 24 days. I think they did the campaign maybe a week or 10 days less than the other one, because the other one's at 27. This is at 24, but this launched after that.
Right.
And they hit almost all their goals too, and they have already added more. Here's some of the concept art for you. I'm sure everyone that's actually watching or listening has seen this before, but here are some of the funded goals, which David Hayter as a voice had me bought in.
So you're definitely going to contribute.
I don't know if I'm going to contribute, or I'll just wait for it to actually come out and buy it then.
Got it.
Because the release date of March 2017 is kind of crazy to me. Oh, we might have a Justice League movie by then.
It won't be good, but yeah.
So we're missing just the 2.5 with the classic mode, but they're gonna hit 2.5.
Yes, pretty exciting. I think that the art looks great. The game's in obviously good hands. Fans of Symphony of the Night, one of the greatest games in my opinion of all time, to get a true spiritual successor instead of multiple Castlevanias that try to do their own thing, but then say that they're, heavily influenced by that game. There has not been a Castlevania game that has come anywhere near the completion status. It's just far like the game feeling that they took the time and like polished it beyond polished it. Other than the voice acting, which, I'll take it. At the time when that game came out, PS1 was full of bad voice acting. Resident Evil, Fox Hunt. I'll bring up all games people won't even remember, but to see these guys embrace the formula that worked. I hate to say it, but a lot of these guys just want to kind of conform with time, and they don't want to go back to their roots, what made them who they are. And Metroidvania is a format that almost always works when the studio takes the proper time to polish the game. Axiom Verge is a perfect example of a more recent title for a next-gen system that pays the ultimate homage to, a retro style game with modern, features. And the game has so much depth for being an NES inspired, Castlevania type game with crazy exploration. So
even like a game like a Shadow Complex, or
that's the game I think I forgot to mention last time for Xbox. That's exactly kind of when people started acknowledging this Metroidvania. They were like, oh my god, a game can be like this and not be Metroid and be good. So yeah, we don't need to have 900 clones like every other game. We tend to get a market saturated. Once something is done right, everybody, mimics it or tries to, and most of them fail. And you'll get like 1 or 2 that'll, get through the bullshit, and then we'll get a really good title, and then you just get a pile of crap. But it happens, and for this game, it does suck that it is so way off in time. Could it come out sooner? Hopefully. You got a ton of money, guys. There's no excuse to not put it out sooner.
Right.
For me, when I look at that type of game, I think digital release. But the way they're making it out, they're making like they're going to pump this out to being a full retail release, which is really exciting for me because,
But to buy the game is only around $30, right? It's $25, $30.
Can you pull it up again? I don't remember, to be honest
I
with you.
closed the window, but give me a second. I can reopen it.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing more because they did talk about a physical copy. I'm pretty sure because I'm gonna contribute. I just don't know if I want to put in $100, which was the criteria I was looking at, which gave you some extra.
Yeah, so it's $28 for the digital release, which is pretty close to maybe 30 or even 40. You're right. It could be. The physical copy here says special backer edition $60.
Right. Okay. What's the $100 one? That's the one I was looking at.
Physical copy of the game featuring all this content, soundtrack, lapel pin, keychain, retro strategy booklet, and your name in the credits.
That was for me. Yeah. That's the one I'm probably going to end up doing. But it's funny, if I do 125, I could get an extra digital copy, like to give to somebody. Because it said 125, you get the physical. And
yeah, I see that now. Yeah, so that person essentially would get it for 25 if they instead of 28, right?
Right, which is I think it's cool that they have a lot of stuff to attribute to the game. But I think once they hit the stretch goal, I wonder if they're going to try to go higher than that. I think that it's too soon.
Oh, I think they'll add more. I think they'll add more stuff to that stretch goal.
It's crazy, but best of luck to them, and I look forward to seeing that game in action.
Yeah, and obviously with a lot of days left on it, we'll be giving updates on it as far as where they're going, what other stretch goals they added, and such. The Witcher 3 was released this week as of recording time, and neither of us have played it, and I don't think either of us plan on playing it. So just rather an update of Witcher 3. Maybe we'll have some future guests on the show when we get that format hammered out that actually had played the game, and we could talk a little bit about it in the what we're playing section.
Yeah, I know Adam did pick up the game, so we could definitely ask him about that.
And another bit of news here, there's that Nintendo, hold on a second, they've announced that they're going to do the World Championship again, 2015 World Championship, culminating, finalizing essentially at E3. There it is on the screen with your favorite game, Splatoon, also up there. It's coming out soon. And they're going to have some qualifying events in some cities, and then those people who qualify will go to LA June 14th to play the finals. Here's some of the locations that they're going to have it in. Closest one to us is Long Island City, which is a little odd, I thought. Not too many locations. What do you think about the event, Ben?
I think it's cool that they're bringing back something that was, only hardcore gamers really knew about that championship back when we were kids, and then they made those cartridges that were exclusive, that had the specific portions of the games that, you competed with. And, you had a lot of prizes, and, essentially the movie The Wizard was heavily,
right.
talked about within that realm of that contest. So I think the focus of the contest ends up being the Nintendo NES remix. So it kind of truly does give you that throwback as far as the competition goes. It's not like they're picking Splatoon as the
your favorite.
Oh God!
Will they have a brand new title that has never been played before, a la The Wizard, and allow the finalists to play that as their final game, which none of them have experience as to playing?
I was thinking the exact same thing, and I think that they could do that. I think they could do a Wii U title.
I think that would be pretty cool if they did that.
Do you think it might be something like Mario Maker and give them a Mario level, or do you think they'll give them a new game like Star Fox or something?
I would see the easy way out being the Mario Maker,
right?
But which I could see very likely. But it would be cool if with Star Fox or something completely new that we have not seen at all, or heard, or rumored, or anything.
Right, which would tie into an announcement at the end of the day.
Right.
Like they broadcasted, which would be a really good thing for them to do. It would be a good strategy and a different approach than anybody else. And the fact that they are doing, a show within E3 is exciting, because I know that they've kind of taken a step back with that. focusing on the Nintendo Directs, which are still good, for the most part, when it's not just amiibo centric.
Yeah, I've been more of a hater, I guess, lately with Nintendo, and I've came off that way. And I said it, and I stick by it that I like my Wii U more than I like my Xbox One. That may piss off the few of our listeners, but I still think it's a better console. But they don't utilize it enough. They don't put in enough work on the original first-party games, and there's still nothing really for 2015 that's coming out. So I'm gonna continue my hating for 2015. Maybe that'll change to 2016.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people looked at me as being a big Nintendo hater, and I've kind of just been riding with it. The amiibo train has run its course for the most part with people, and they're still stagnant with a lot of stuff. We are getting Splatoon next Friday along with a slew of amiibo figures, which is going to be a nightmare as usual. But other than that, we still don't really have solid dates on Woolly World. We don't have a solid date for Mario Maker, or do we? Fall, yeah,
Fall.
Again, which will be closer to Christmas.
Yeah,
Star Fox, we don't know what the deal is. So, I think
definitely 2016.
Okay, so technically, the only other title that I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, is Puzzles and Dragons Mario Edition.
Yeah, I think that comes out very soon, though, doesn't it?
But I'm saying, as far as Nintendo releases, it's about it, right? For the most part.
I'm sure we're forgetting something, but yeah, sounds about right.
Trash. Street trash.
The last bit of news I'm going to save. I was going to talk a little Rock Band and Guitar Hero, but we don't have too much anyway with it. So I'm going to save that for next show, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more news as far as Rock Band 4 and the latest Guitar Hero. We'll go right into what we're playing. I haven't been playing much even since the last show. I really need to go into something and play a little bit more. I picked up and played a little more GTA. It's still great. I haven't changed my opinion on it. And I was playing a couple retro games. I'm going to start working on some videos as far as like a cheat run. Instead of doing like a speed run with games, I'm going to do like a cheat run where I sit there and play through the whole game, not in any particular speed to run through the game, but to play through the whole game and make it through maybe some of the older, challenging, more frustrating games, and use like a Game Genie or one of the cheat devices and record it and stream that and then throw it on YouTube.
No, it's a good idea. Especially games that we couldn't get through as kids, maybe.
Right. That's what I was practicing with some Super Star Wars and Indiana Jones collection for the Super Nintendo, and some weird, obscure, like Incredible Crash dummies, some like obscure, more stuff that you don't see people actually playing, really.
Right. Okay. Cool, man.
But that's all I've been playing. I know, Ben, you have a new endeavor that you might as well go into, and some of the games that you've played while we were away for this little gap of show.
Yeah, man. So I'm proud to announce that I've been offered opportunity to do some writing for gamingage.com. It's a gaming website that pretty much does a lot of reviews, previews, all different genres, generations, new gen, old gen, PC, and it's a really cool site. If you go online, www.gaming-age.com. I did my first review. It was released today, which was for a PS4 digital title, Thorn, which I won't go too much into.
2 hours!
This guy whipping in the English translation for the order.
2 hours!
I won't go much into the review. If you guys get a chance, stop by, take a look at that. That's a little more in depth. But Torrent is a game that I did play recently to do some reviews for. Another game that I'm actually still working on is Schrodinger Cat, which is
what is that?
The Raiders of the Lost Quark. So it's a adventure, puzzle, RPG hybrid. It's a very strange title. It is on PC as well, and you play as the Schrodinger cat, and the cat has the ability to find these little things called quarks, and you use them to help you get through the levels. So it's puzzle based in a sense where you can't get to a certain area, you need these things to help you get there, or if there's a wall there, certain ones will allow you to create a fireball or a missile or a platform to walk on. It's a very it gives me like this almost like a Super Nintendo, when Super Nintendo used to have like these really obscure titles that like you just go through a level, kind of like a Load Runner, where you had to just progress.
Right.
But there is story, there is some voice acting into it. It's different. It's very different. The voice acting is pretty decent for what it is. I've been playing it for
the title is
bit.
out.
The title, is out. Both titles actually came out on the date is, I'll tell you 1 second. Last Tuesday, actually.
So it came out on the 12th, May 12th.
Yes. So, I mean, it's cool that I was given the opportunity to play some up and coming games from indie developers, which will be a big focus point for me with doing this venture. But the next couple of games I'm going to be working on, other than that, will be the Wolfenstein, which I started playing the digital version,
which I watched a very little bit of.
Yeah, so I'll be presenting a review for the site when I'm done with that.
And maybe you should do a little Twitch while you're playing the Wolfenstein or something else or whatever else is coming up there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should do that with my initial reviews before, so I held off on that. But I think for the most part, the team has been pretty open with me, doing cross promotions and stuff. And,
right.
So.
Well, if the game is released, I don't see it being a big deal. If it was a pre-release, then I'd say, yeah, I would probably hold off.
Right, which I might get some of that stuff, as the timeline comes, because I was asked to, give up some titles that I might be interested in. One of the big ones I'm hoping that comes out this year was Cuphead, which I've spoken to you about, a little bit about it too.
1930s style animation digital title for the Xbox One.
Yes, which I'm really excited about, and hopefully it doesn't get delayed till next year.
Yeah, well, this is the year of the delay.
Yes, 2016.
So anything else? Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's cool. A lot of street passing. Not playing anything on the 3DS. From between Wizard World and being stuck on the bus, I've been getting a lot of street passes. I think I might go back into the Zelda 3DS titles, both of them. The Link Between Worlds and finish Majora's Mask.
I love the Link Between Worlds. I really still need to go back to Majora's Mask. Every time I look at my 3DS, I say I need to go back to Majora's, and I still haven't. I really need to make it a chore to go back into it. Maybe it'll drive me up and get me back interested to playing it again.
Got it. But for the most part, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I started playing with you the Evil Within DLC.
Right.
Which
we both kind of checked out a little bit.
I think
it was. It looked like it'd be a chore to go through, just like their other game was, so I wouldn't bother with it.
Yeah, as you said, I'm evil withinning it. I'm glad they didn't ask me to review that.
Not yet. Yeah. I'm gonna send them an email requesting that you do an email, do a review for the Evil Within DLC, all of the DLC packs.
Yes, but yeah, that's it. So,
all right, that sounds good. Congratulations on the position. We look forward to seeing what reviews you come up with, and et cetera, et cetera. My Pop's pick for the week, back in the video games area of the show, I went with another GameCube title. I think I've picked primarily Nintendo titles, which
from the guy that hates Nintendo right now,
which stems back to my hate for Nintendo. Maybe that's why, because I'm more disappointed with Nintendo lately than I am that I hate them. I always liked Nintendo titles.
You're like, back when I was a young whippersnapper, Nintendo meant something.
Well, this one is another one that's not too old. It's a GameCube title. It is my favorite Mario Kart title of all the Mario Karts. Welcome to Mario Kart. Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube was the only Mario Kart made for the GameCube, so you should have been able to figure that one out. And this Mario Kart, a little different than any other Mario Kart. Before it and after it, you pick two riders for the kart, and you're allowed to carry two items. And depending on the rider, you get specific items for each of them. So if you had Diddy Kong, you get the bananas. If you get a Koopa Trooper, you get multiple green shells or red shells, whereas the other characters can't do that. So it had a little bit more strategy to it, I thought. even when you're playing against other people, like friends and stuff, because everyone ran to the Koopas when I would playing with friends because you wanted those turtle shells. Or, I thought it was a more strategy involved. The Birdo and the Yoshi, they spit out the egg. Bow. And it's still my favorite Mario Kart game. It beats out the Wii. It beats out the Wii U. The Wii U one comes pretty close now. It's gotten a lot better, and the 3DS one is really great. I really like the 3DS one also. But the Double Dash is still my favorite. I still have it for the GameCube. I wish they would release it as like a virtual console style thing. I don't know why they're still sleeping on GameCube titles to release them via virtual console. But I'm not getting rid of my GameCube anyway. So
2017, you'll probably get that update. We're going to give you guys GameCube titles for the NX.
Yeah, the NX.
Here's a question for you. What about the Mario Kart game that never made it to a console?
The Mario Kart arcade game?
Yes.
Which it actually has a couple iterations. I think they made more than one, basically off the same engine. They've made a couple of them. Okay. I still think they're primarily the same. They just add tracks. And because when I went to Tokyo last year in 2014, we played one, and it seemed a little different than the one I played before. The controls are very loose in the arcade one. They're not as tight as for steering and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that could primarily be that it was developed by Namco and not by Nintendo. But I enjoy the arcade one. I still think it's pretty good, but it doesn't even come close to the GameCube one for me.
Cool. Just curious.
It's probably more in line with the Nintendo 64. I would put it in ballpark with that. It's fun, but not the best of the series.
Got it. Coolio.
And continuing with your trend, I picked a title that's probably pretty expensive to pick up, being a first-party Nintendo game for a system that people don't have anymore and that are trying to probably buy up what remaining stock they have of the titles.
Right.
So make sure you spend some of your hard-earned money on that title because it's the best GameCube game.
There you go. Very cool, man.
All right. Well, I think that is really about it. The web address is on the screen if you're watching us live. It's themediamasterminds.com. If you're not, maybe check it out on YouTube. I'll put up the show. Media Masterminds. I'll probably name it Live 8 with some other tag along with it. You could tweet at us. I'm at Legend Pop. Mr. Benny Rose is at It's Benny Rose. Perfect. Yep. Take care. Have fun. Anything else you want to add, Ben? I mean, we're going to be trying this. This seems like it went off pretty well. And if we can get some guests on the show, I think it'd be an interesting format. We'll probably have to cut down some bits of news to fit in everyone talking. But I think it's a pretty good experiment so far.
Yes, I think it went very well. Just to thank you, as usual, to everybody that continues to come back, and welcome to anybody that's listening for the first time. We appreciate it. We hope you spread the word, help us, gain some more, listeners, so we can continue to do what we love, which is, talk entertainment, movies and games.
Yes, and yep. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed watching us, our boneheads here, and or listening to us. Take care.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.